Hello everyone, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and welcome to another This Week in Destiny for February the 20th. Now, getting into it, there was a few things to discuss. I don't know if you were trying to play last night, but there was a bit of a service outage with repeated centipede errors on login. Bungie did mention that, and they fixed it a few hours later. If you were still not sure if they were back, the servers are officially back. I logged in myself not long before recording this video. Aside from that, in addition to that, there is a fragment that is currently disabled with all of Prismatic. Apparently it is causing issues in some way or another. They may mention it again in the end of the TWID with the usual player support update, but that is just some of the more pressing matters to note in addition to This Week in Destiny. But getting into it, on the front, there is a case of a bug becoming a feature. If you didn't know, there has kind of been a bug going around where the various classes could use their other classes, glaives, and swords. If you don't know, there are a set of a glaive and a sword that is locked to each individual class. The Titans have the bubble glaive and the big heavy bonk sword, and the Hunters have the ninja sword as well as the lightning chaining glaive. Basically, those walls came down, and it was a mistake originally, but Bungie saw what people were doing and actually enjoying the kind of change of pace, and they kind of decided to implement it. Now, they did say straight up the animations look a little bit weird, as some are not meant for other characters. Like the Titan sword hold animation looks like it's heavy, and you hold it like it's heavy. Imagine a frail, tiny looking hunter holding that sword would be a little bit awkward. However, but just kind of the idea of those class walls coming down also kind of instigates another thing, because in the past, obviously the Ace of Spades came through with the Forsaken DLC, but that used to be the Hunter's class exotic, and with that rise, we could get more things like Tlaloc and Fabian Strategy now that those class-specific walls have kind of come down. So, aside from that, there's another case of, like I said, bug becoming a feature, and if you don't believe me, they say right here, they've arrived at the new decision, we're going to let this ride. You know, bug becoming a feature. Next is something we've mentioned just this last week. Grandmasters are coming next Tuesday, which there won't be a Grandmaster mode just yet, which is basically the anyone can do any Grandmaster at least once, but I almost said Magnificent Howl just because I saw it, but basically there is the Palindrome Depths Return coming into the Nightfall playlist. I believe this is the first time it's come back since it's disappeared, and it's also been reshaped a little bit because it used to be Void and now it is Arc, in addition to the Adept versions, with of course access to something like the fabled Magnificent Howl rework and some other things. It could be, again, one of the Crucible weaknesses, or I wouldn't say weaknesses, but one of the Crucible crutches for the average person looking for the top tier adaptive frame hand cannon. Next is the show match of the Sunder Doctrine. Basically, just speedrunning between streamers. In case you care, there is, of course, a emblem involved in case you wish to give away or, you know, that sort of thing. In case you wanted to follow your various streamers or just, you know, your thirst traps in the case of one or two of them, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. There is many different countries and different representatives that will be competing between each other to speedrun the best between all of this other things. You know, aside from that, there is fashion feedback with the Never Stops. Some of the themes going forward is Heist Crew, Geometric Puzzle, Japanese Ink Art, Otherworldly Pawn, and Sleepy Time, weirdly enough. But then they also have another sort of, I don't know if it's a fashion contest or a heresy fashion, but basically do what you can to look like you belong in the idea of the heresy, Taken, Hive, just dark magic, something like that. Next is the player support report. So basically, if you weren't aware, I've mentioned this a few times, with the Sunder Doctrine contest mode, they are allowing a makeup date where contest mode will be available on the 22nd of February, 9 a.m. Pacific, re-enabled for 24 hours, where players may earn the contest mode triumph emblem and a guaranteed drop of Finality's Augur during this period. This was because PlayStation had a complete service dropout not too long during the initial weekend of contest mode Sunder Doctrine, and they wanted to make up for it in case somebody was among the PlayStation folks and wanted to give it a shot. As well as Finality's Augur apparently had a drop issue that after the expiration of contest mode, basically it wasn't dropping normally. However, last Friday on Valentine's Day, they deployed a hotfix that enabled its proper drop rate, allegedly. So go ahead and start looking for it again. With the lost curio of the 9, last Friday, they resolved an issue where players could lose their curios of the 9 if it was sent to the postmaster or stored in the vault. While they have nothing to say regarding its purpose, still holding it to the chest, they're investigating a way to return those lost curios back to players without, you know, breaking things. But then the known issues list. It's a bit long, so just going from the top. The Hunter Aspect Ascension drains all super energy while used in a roaming super. The Titan Aspect Storm's Keep does not synergize with Arbor Warden. The Volatile Marksman Artifact mod restoring class ability energy too quickly. When damaging Shrieker bosses, players receive crit damage feedback when it is regular base damage. When tracking Ikora's Drowned Labyrinth quest, completion of certain steps may stop progress into the next steps. Sometimes the Tone of Want a Primer quest does not progress after meeting Step 3 and Step 4 requirements. Slayer's Fang is stunning Overload champions, but not stopping their healing. Crafted Bolted Glass weapons will still show that they can apply a Deep Sight Harmonizer to a weapon will do nothing and cost the player their currencies. New comp weapon who registers S-Stock can only be earned once during the first week and when doing placement matches. Discord and No Harmony perks count down before their player switches to the necessary weapon. Stoicism's Heart's Pledge does not show cloth in the feminine model. The Solar Storm ornament incorrectly states that the visual effects would work with the Stoicism exotic, and now states that the visual effects trigger when wearing the matching exotic armor. They call for prior Gale gauntlets and will be added in a future update. The Warlock Plaguebreaker leg armor sometimes clips through the character's legs. Memento shaders can be previewed on armor that is in the armor management screen, not intended as they cannot be used for armor. The Grandmaster Triumphs reference a previous season, and during the boss in Kale's Fall, sometimes the portal back to the Revenant Plane does not open when multi-phasing the bosses, leading to soft locks. With that, then we get into the art and visuals of the week. Lots of love to Eris, of course, as usual, with her alleged demise. But then there is, of course, I guess, beating up a raid boss and taking up his lunch money. And regarding of art of the week and movie of the week, it is basically, content in general is hard. Always look forward to the opportunity to reward with emblems for their efforts, but notice a severe uptick in Destiny 2 Art of the Week and Movie of the Week entries with excessive number of names credited, often added a day or two after the original post was uploaded. The spirit of these contests are to highlight great in-game moments and embrace their community's creativity with the confines of a single fire team. While we've loved many entries lately, we don't want future entries to think they can set up a huge production, which is why we are limiting weekly winners to 7 per submission, not be awarding the emblem to names after the original entry. So basically, if you're wanting to make something to add it to art or movie of the week, it has to be under 7 people, and you cannot add any names afterwards, because Bungie kind of sees what you're doing. You're trying to get a name and trying to give emblems to those who didn't really do anything. But that is the end of This Week in Destiny. All the important notes, just to remind you all, basically the servers are back up and running. We will have some wonky class-looking swords on the wrong classes, and there is, I already forgot something we talked about further. Grandmasters next week, speedrunning Sunder Doctrine, and the makeup quest for, not the makeup quest, the makeup weekend for contest mode for those of you that missed out. And with that, my name is the Mad Scorpion. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.